Everybody, Darren Garman here with Trot, and we want to welcome you to this episode of the Heartland Multifamily Show. The place
for all things multifamily.
And we've got a pretty good thing going. So we are a well-oiled machine, man. Yep, there it is. We're like this train. Hold this up because some people might not be able to see it. So we've got this train here on the podcast. I'll put it there, that camera there, you can see it, that camera there, you can see it. It reminds us of a lot of things. It's a good anchor for a lot of ththings, but the main thing is we're a well-oiled machine, aren't we? Right? That's right. We want to welcome you to this episode, and we've got some really, I think, some cool things to cover with you today, and it really has to do with, you look nervous, are you okay? You look like you're going to get up.
No.
You look like you're going to get up.
No, my shoulders just hurt a little bit, so I'm good.
We want to cover accomplishing your goals, hitting your targets early when it comes to especially next year. So we're at a point in time right now when we're recording this. What are we going to be hearing as we get closer to the new year from people, from you name it, podcasts, if you listen to radio, reading, what are we going to be hearing a lot of?
The good old magical New Year's resolutions.
New Year's resolutions. Okay, here's what I'm going to do next year. Here's what I'm going to accomplish next year. Here's what's going to get done next year. And, we can call them targets. We can call them goals. And we can call them resolutions. And by the way, but before we really jump into this, because you're going to like the content, we're not poking fun. We're not making light of any of those things, because by the way, they're super important. I mean, we operate our daily cares of life business, multifamily business, with targets all the time. I mean, how often am I talking about targets and goals? I mean,
every week,
like maybe. Yeah. It's maybe like every single day.
Yeah.
So look, we're not making light of this. I don't want anybody listening or watching to get that impression at first. Very important, super important. If you want to accomplish anything, got to have them, right? Got to have them. But I found over the years that many people, especially entrepreneurs, put up their own roadblocks, put their own brakes on their progress because they're not doing this right. And what we're going to cover today, I think, is going to reveal to many of you not only how to stop putting the brakes on yourself in achieving those resolutions, those targets, those goals, but how to get them done early. How would you like that? How would you like to get your goals and your targets and your resolutions accomplished early? You don't have to wait until December 31st to finally made it. Maybe you get them accomplished by June 1st. Maybe you get them accomplished by September 15th. How would that be? Well, if you like the sound of that, stay tuned, stay with us on this episode of the Heartland Multifamily Show, because we are going to cover just that. Welcome to the Heartland Multifamily Show, the shorter, more profitable path to multifamily ownership and investing. All right, can't wait to dig into this. You and I have been talking a lot about this, especially because of the time of year. Over the last few days, we talked about a number of things in terms of planning and hitting our targets for next year already, with more to come on that. And so let's go ahead and let's pull the curtain back. I want to give you at least 2, maybe 3 real strategies that will work in order for you to achieve your goals, your targets, your resolutions early. Okay. So let's start, Trot, with a question I have for you. When people decide they're going to commit to a New Year resolution, New Year goals, New Year targets, whatever they are, what do most people do in terms of deciding or choosing when that's going to start?
Well, even if you think about it in June, they push it back all the way to 6 more months until the first of the year, the first of the new year.
Yeah.
And they delay the progress and delay it, and then January 1st hits and bang. That's when they decide they might want to start.
Okay, so most people, and you hit the nail right on the head, most people wait until what date? What's the magic date?
January 1st.
January 1st. The magic date is January 1st. New year, I'm going to start this. I'm going to do this. When that new year hits, here, I'm going to, whether it's business stuff, exercise, losing weight, whatever it is, everyone uses January 1st as their start date, right? Why? Why do they use January 1st, Trot?
It's the start of the new year. It's a new beginning. You know, there's everything's fresh. There's, so it's new start.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Because, hey, it's a new year. It's going to be a new me, whether it's, again, business, personal, whatever it is. It's new.
Right.
That's the main reason. Because it's really, in a way, assigning magic to that date.
Right.
So somehow, the January 1st date, there's magic in it. There's newness in it. And because of that newness and that magic, it really allows me to do two things. One is procrastinate. One is I get to now wait to start really working on this new goal, new target, new resolution until January 1st. Okay? Because there's magic. Once that date hits, I can procrastinate and wait, but because of that magical January 1st date, all of a sudden, things are just going to all come into alignment for me. Things are all going to be ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and hit my targets and hit my resolutions. Now, I'm overdoing it a little bit there, admittedly, but not by much. Not by much. A lot of people think that way, that there's magic in that date. And that's really the main point I want to make to you in terms of strategy number one in achieving your goals early is to, I hate to reveal this to you, I'm sorry. I'm going to give you some bad news, okay? And I'm going to give all of you some bad news. There's no magic in the January 1st date.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
There's no magic in it. There's no magic in it. Because what do most people find out when it's May 15th?
Well, either they aren't even close to their goal, they haven't started it, or they forgot about it.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about forgetting about it, by the way, because that's going to have something to do with the second strategy that we're going to talk about. That'll just be a huge win and a huge strategy for everybody to use that's watching and listening. But let's get back to that magic date. There is no magic in the January 1st date. But many people believe there is. And so they will wait to start, to get moving, to start making any kind of progress until January 1st, because there's some kind of magic there. And I just broke the bad news to you and to all of you. There is no magic date there. There's no magic. And you know this to be the case because when you've been down the road, as you said, 4 or 5 months down the road, and you realize you're not any closer 4 or 5 months down the road than you were 2 or 3 months before January 1st, you pretty much realize there's no magic in January 1st. So that's strategy number one, is to understand two things. Number one is, say it again, there's no magic, Trot, in January. I can see I'm sorry to really break the bad news to you. There's no magic in January 1st. So get that out of your head. Number two, part and parcel with that, by extension, you start working on your goals, your targets, your resolutions now. Right now. Now is when you start.
Well, and sometimes you could have a goal that is specifically 2024 related. Like, let's say you want your company to grow 25% year over year.
Okay.
Right? But the people that are actually going to do it are the one they're thinking about in September. They start planning for it in September, and they start putting everything into place. And then, yeah, the goal technically doesn't actually start until January 1st on paper. Right. But they have been planning for it, for months ahead of time.
Man, that's a great point. So do you think that, let's just think about, you think about it to yourself, in your mind, and those watching and listening, think about who you consider to be like a high achiever in your mind, in your world. Do you think they're starting their goals, resolutions, target process on January 1st? Or do you think they've started months before January 1st?
Yeah.
They started months before.
Even if on paper it starts January 1st,
Yeah.
they started months before.
And so that kind of success leaves clues, right? So let's come full circle back to it. There's no magic in January 1st. There never has been. There never will be. So start your process. Whatever target or goal or resolution it doesn't matter. We're business, but you want to hit that weight. You want to get that strength level. You want to hit that point in your relationship with people you care about. The list is endless. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I hope you're enjoying this episode. I'm going to be having a free webinar coming up, the link's below, on how to correctly and with low risk invest your IRA or 401k in really good multifamily properties. A majority of our investors do this. I do this personally. It's not illegal. Make sure you click the link below. We'd love to have you. But way too many people wait till January 1st to start because they believe that A, it gives them some kind of a magic ability, and B, it allows them to procrastinate. It allows them to wait to start that exercise program. Right. Wait to really dig into those hard, tough business decisions that we've got to make. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's number one. And if you eliminate just that, out of your head mentally and start your work now, you will hit your targets before the end of the year. You will. You'll hit your targets before the end of the year. All right, so that's number one. So we talked about at least another strategy. So let's share that other strategy with everybody right now. And by the way, if you do what we're going to suggest to you, along with what we've just mentioned, your chances of hitting your targets early are almost, I'm not going to say they are, but they're almost guaranteed. Okay, so try, when most people, again, decide that they're going to have some kind of goals, targets, resolutions for the next year, do they have any kind of, do you think most or any of them have any kind of system of accountability to make sure they're on track to achieving it? Or do you think by May or June, most people have already forgot about them?
They probably forgot about them, or they just don't care about them anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So what happens with most people, with whatever target that they want to achieve, is they've got all of the great intentions in here, yeah. To hit those targets. So there's no doubt in my mind that, they're faking it at that point, because they're not. But, let's be real with each other. By June, most people have forgot about them.
Right.
And they're back to the way they were before the year started. Okay. The main reason that is because a year is actually a long time. A year is a long time. So I would submit to you, one of the best ways to keep those targets in front of you every day. Remind yourself what it is you need to do every day, instead of being in June and forgetting, being in September and forgetting even what your goals were, or what your resolutions or targets were. Is instead of setting a goal a year down the road, which you should do, by the way, along with that, you want to set smaller targets 100 days apart.
So to break it down simply, it's, if you want to lose 60 pounds in the year, set that as your main goal, and pretty much set, hey, first quarter, I want to lose 15 pounds.
Perfect.
Second quarter, 15 pounds.
Perfect.
And just keep it going.
Perfect. Yeah, so think of it this way. And you and I were talking about this before we went on camera. It's like rounding the bases. Okay, we all when we get up to bat, we want to get to home plate. But if all we think about is hitting home runs to get to home plate, What are the odds? Maybe you know this. What are the odds of a batter hitting a home run each time they get up to bat? Do you know?
No, I don't, but I can tell you.
What do you think it would be? Like if you had to guess.
Are we talking about a super slugger or?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Let's.
I bet you probably.
Let's say average baseball player, average professional baseball player.
Probably 5 of 100.
Okay, so 5% maybe.
Yeah.
5% chance.
Yeah.
So you have basically, even in baseball, you have a 5% chance of hitting a home run. Okay, well, if you go into the new year and you're thinking of hitting that home run and that's all you're focused on, you've got basically a 5% chance or less of hitting your target. Now, what are the odds of hitting a base hit? What's the percentage of me getting on base, do you think?
About 30%.
So it goes up 6 times.
Right.
So I'm 6 times more likely to start making the kind of progress I need by focusing on getting to first base, then focusing on second base, then focusing on third base, versus just focusing on the home run. And that's what the 100-day outcome process is about. Now, I discovered this a couple of years ago. One of my mentors showed this to me, and I was completely blown away by it. Because it sounds simple. I mean, what we're talking about here is nothing that has been a secret for centuries. But to break it down into 100-day outcomes is huge. Because not only does it keep you more accountable, not only does it allow for those resolutions and targets to stay in front of you by what you need to achieve in 100 days, all right, and then the next 100 days. All right. It also makes sure that you don't forget about it.
Right.
You don't get busy with something else comes up, things kind of pop up that you're not expecting, and all of a sudden you're June and July and you forgot about the whole thing.
Right.
By using 100-day targets along with those resolutions, those bigger goals, your chances of hitting your goals, accomplishing your resolutions early, go up a ton. And I would tell you that if you got serious about that, you would hit your targets early.
Well, and I think too, it's not just them, them getting busy or having stuff going on. I think could be procrastination too. It gets to June, like, oh, I still got 6 months. And,
Yep, exactly.
And then it gets to September, I got 3 more months. I can still do it.
Great point.
So it could still be in the back of their mind the entire year.
Yeah, I'll wait till August to really get started.
Yeah.
I still got a few months to go. I can still do it. And by implementing those 100-day outcomes, it keeps you on task so you're not deluding yourself and having that self-talk that that's what's going to happen and that's what's going to work. Because we all know what you just explained.
Right.
That's not going to work. I mean, that's like, training for a marathon and then not training for it until 2 weeks before, hoping that you got enough training in to run the marathon. No.
That's exactly what it is.
That's not going to happen.
That was a good analogy.
That's not going to happen. So again, 100-day targets. We get to first base. We get to second base. We get to third base. We don't get up to plan on and believe we can hit the home run right away. We talked about it. Just talking, you're 6 times more likely to really make the kind of progress that you want and deserve by breaking it down in 100. So what's my target this first 100 days? Okay, maybe like you said, maybe it's 10 pounds. Maybe it's 15 pounds. What's the next 100 days? So now you're holding yourself accountable with shorter time frames that are in front of you all of the time. Versus, great analogy. Well, it's September. I still got 30 pounds to lose. Here's what I think I can do it. Well, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it. Doesn't matter if it's weight, financial progress, goals and targets we want to hit as a company, with what we want to do and how we want to do it, etc. And so let's kind of come full circle here, because I think we've covered a couple of things that, again, what we talked about here is not anything that has been a secret for centuries, and we've revealed out of the time capsule we dug up that this is something that's going to be magic. No. But if you think about how many times you put the brakes on yourself, in most cases unknowingly, because like I said, we all have and the great intention here, the greatest intentions here to do what we need to do. If you do that, and if you go through the process that we described, you're not unknowingly putting the brakes on yourself and sabotaging yourself from achieving what you know you could potentially be and what you know you could potentially do. Right. And so, Trot, as you and I have discussed this, as you and I have gone over this, and we talked about how important it is, talk about maybe one or two takeaways that you have from this discussion that we've done, that you've taken away in terms of maybe what you've got going on, or in terms of a lot of the folks that we deal with.
Well, I think the most important thing is just starting now. Why not? I think when you get towards the end of the year, you got holidays, Thanksgiving.
It's easy to put off, right? I got Christmas. We'll wait till after that. I got,
But just do it, and if you just start it now, then you're going to get to your goal that much quicker. There's no sense in delaying something just because of the magic date.
Yeah, and I think too many times we think we've got all the time in the world, and then when you get to my age. And I'm not like an old man yet, but you get to my age, you find out, that's not really the case. You don't really have all the time in the world. So great stuff today, Trot. I appreciate your information and contribution today. It's been super helpful. We appreciate you for joining us on this episode of the Heartland Multifamily Show. And this is the Get Your Targets, Hit Your Goals and Resolutions Early next year episode of the Heartland Multifamily Show, and it is the place
for all things multifamily.
For all things multifamily. Have a great day, have a great week, and of course, have a great year. All right, talk to you later. See ya. Bye-bye.